How's it going, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Crypto Clout. I'm your host, Faze Crypto, and I'm very happy to be bringing you this video, more optimistic view on the future of cryptocurrency and sort of a bleak view on the world stage. I think right now the global recession and on top of that, the overall crash that we're seeing hasn't really come home and hasn't really hit home yet. I think that we're already sort of in a post-decline sort of scenario, and a lot of people really haven't caught the full force of what's actually on the horizon. This is, of course, like I said, a bleak view on the future of the fiat currency. But the one thing that you really have to take into consideration is that when we see something happening on the larger scale, it takes one time, and on the other hand, money is just the same as energy. You know how they always say energy is neither created nor destroyed, it's merely transferred, converted. This is the same idea when we're talking about a global reserve currency, whether it be in the future, whether we see it as Bitcoin or whether we see it as the sort of similar competition. The fact of the matter is, blockchain really does pose a very interesting vacuum, a very interesting sort of black hole of the current paradigm to sort of get sucked down into. And of course, this is very interesting while we're seeing, even with the current price action that we've been seeing happening, Bitcoin is the new gold, according to Forbes list, sort of heralding it, and giving it that title, even in the wake of the price crash is that we've been seeing happening, sort of the return of the more bearish sentiment, the fear greed index almost all the way over to the fear side. Very interesting time we're living in, and I don't think that there's any question whether Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency alike are a desirable asset. I think that right now it's more of a situation where people are more greedy than they're allowing themselves to actually have a perspective that gives them that edge. And I think a lot of people are going to get priced out of their current Bitcoin holdings in an attempt to try and rebuy at a lower price. Whether or not this is going to happen in the short term remains to be seen. I think that strategy is optimal as far as what we're seeing right now. I don't expect Bitcoin to maintain itself at this 10,000. I think right now we're pretty much witnessing the bulls are sort of having their last hurrah, attempting to push that price. And I think that they've been getting rejected over and over again. Whether or not we actually are able to retest that 12,000 is very unlikely. I think right now we're sort of developed where we can see a lower low sort of at time and time again. And, of course, just looking at the day-to-day, as far as what we've been seeing happening with Bitcoin, it seems as if we're either going straight to the moon or we're going straight to the crypto abyss, as it is called often. And so, I mean, it is interesting to see. And I don't expect there to be a $3,000 Bitcoin in any near prospect. I think that opportunity sort of is a last year sort of opportunity. The fact that so many people are talking about cryptocurrencies and giving Bitcoin this amount, of course, the trade war, all these other things are certainly building up and giving Bitcoin a more attention than it had last year. The overall sentiment was coming off of that coming off of the $20,000 all-time highs, and then of course moving down to that $3,000. It is interesting to see how Bitcoin, and of course we've seen places like Australia now opening up the opportunity for their employees to be paid in Bitcoin. This one right here I found was interesting as well. UK employees explain why he wants to be paid in 100% Bitcoin salary, and why the hell wouldn't you want? I mean, with a total supply, limited supply of 21 million, why wouldn't you want to get 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 of those Bitcoins, as the value will more than likely skyrocket with time. This is, I think, a good good jumping off point to begin, the conversation about, Cardano or Boros, POS, randomly selects a node, with the right to, mint a block, power of a pool. This will be very interesting to see, the approach that Cardano has. And I think that, with Bitcoin in the overall, I think one of the main sentiments that the people who are more of detractors from Bitcoin, I mean, there's plenty of people out there who will say that Bitcoin will eventually be sort of replaced by a more technology that is more up to date. I mean, with the AI and all these other things able to sort of crack the code, how is any hash going to be able to basically trick the AI? That, I mean, obviously it's in its early primordial stages right now, but even considering what we have right now, I think that it would be interesting to see a cryptocurrency that more like Cardano, that would be able to see a lot of these different issues coming on the horizon and then work to sort of defeat the issue before it actually creates real world problems. Now, the fact that Cardano doesn't actually have a product on the market right now does serve to sort of give them an unfair advantage in this conversation, because it basically shields them from a level of criticism that, of course, we'll be happy to point out. I'll be happy to criticize the product when it finally does come, and we'll be having that conversation when it finally does occur. But I think right now, a lot of the criticism that goes towards the fellow altcoins is essentially a criticism that Cardano is able to sort of be able to get a roundabout way, able to basically hoist up its reputation on the shoulders of a cryptocurrency space that's willing to open up their arms to something new, which I think Cardano does have a very significant advantage now, especially while we see Bitcoin sort of taking the role of gold. I think something like Cardano or a cryptocurrency very similar would have the opportunity to replace sort of the day-to-day financial, sort of transactions, buying a coffee, sort of going to the grocery store sort of things. I think would be delegated towards a crypto. And I think that a view of a single crypto like Bitcoin being the total replacement of the paradigm is more of a romantic view, less sort of realistic perspective when we consider something like the opportunity. I mean, the vast list of altcoins that are attempting to fill that void as these things come in. And of course, we'll be seeing more institutions and all these other things trying to hop on board, create their own product, and of course attempt to be a competition in that sort of overall framework as we see these different things continue to build and of course surmount and essentially reach a pivotal boiling point that will be very interesting. Who believes in $1 Cardano? I'd definitely like to see that in the comments down below. Let me know if you guys believe in the potential for $1 Cardano. I think that it will be interesting to see how developing countries and all these other areas have been able to harness the opportunities made available, especially by Cardano, and it is something commendable. In terms of a strategic perspective, I think Cardano does have a very interesting viewpoint on these other things, that are going to be very interesting as crypto continues to make its splash on that global stage. And it is very unfortunate to see places like India and others alike that are basically flirting with that cryptocurrency ban, which I understand why that in the short term it seems like a smart decision, but I think that that's something that as a community we need to oppose. I think that that's probably one of the greatest I mean, of course they do so at their own peril. I think John McAfee was one of the individuals who tweeted that trying to ban Bitcoin is essentially like trying to ban mosquitoes on a summer rain, on a summer night after it just rained. You're never going to get anything done if you're trying to get rid of the mosquitoes. It's just something that's going to happen. And I think with the internet, apart from shutting down the internet entirely, which of course is pretty much a left field sort of idea that of course, could reach its boiling point as well. I mean, I suppose all these different things we'll have to just witness happen as they manifest themselves. But it is very interesting to see. And of course, remember this video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not your dad. So remember, you guys got to do your own research. But yeah, these are my current views on the market. I mean, I'm still waiting to see if the price drops, and I'm sort of expecting to see a resurgence of that overall bearish sentiment, in the short term. But I suppose we will see. And let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. I'll see you guys next video. Have a good one.